Lauri Flaquer of Celtar Solutions, and I'm here today on Focus Forward. I have a really exciting guest. I'm going to welcome Mark Adams, and we are going to be talking about the Canton Fair in China. Mark, thanks so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. Very, very excited to be here.
Well, me too. I'm excited to have you. So, Mark, let's just dive right in. Tell us a little bit, give us a little synopsis of what the Canton Fair, for those viewers who don't know, is.
Well, the Canton Fair is really the world's largest private label or wholesale fair. It's held twice a year in China in April and October, and literally there are 20,000 vendors in each of three phases. So if you've ever been to a convention in, say, your local town, and where I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, we've got a decent sized convention center, and if you've gone to a convention in a town like that, maybe the typical convention will have two, maybe 300 vendors at best. So if you're imagining here, all the way up to 20,000 people. Imagine like 15 buildings of what you would have in your local town. There are vendors that sell products that you've seen your whole life and things that you've never seen or could have ever imagined. So it's amazing if you're really truly serious about being in the private label business, having your own products created under your brand. This is literally the central place in the world to go to have these products made and find vendors and suppliers of your products. And I think the first time I was there, I was joking that if you can't find a six-figure business there, you need to just stay in your job. But it's the place to go for private label selling.
Okay, awesome. So that really allows us to know exactly what it is. If you can't find a business there, stay home. Just stay home.
Stay in your job. Don't ever complain again.
Exactly. So give us a little insight into all those buildings. How do people manage it?
Well, there's three phases, and really what you do is you decide on the phase that suits really what your particular brand could be. Most people who are Amazon private label sellers will go to phase two because that's really more consumer products, kitchen products, things like that. But ideally, as you go through, it's funny. I take people to the fair and we do buying trips and seminars and things around there. And one of the people had like a Fitbit type thing last time, and I asked him how much he walked. And he said at the end of the day, it said he had walked 10 miles up and down through all of the fair. But ultimately, you want to have kind of a plan of knowing where things are, knowing what really is there, so you can eliminate a lot of it. Really, part of the issue is if you think back years ago, it was all about gathering information. Now, if you go to something like this and many other ways, it's about filtering things out. So if you kind of have a plan of what you're doing and what you're looking for, you can eliminate a lot of that because you'll never get to it all unless you just want to walk every aisle and see what's there. But having a good idea of where you want to start and the type of vendors you want to speak with, that's really key of getting started and being able to focus on the things that are there.
Now, Mark, you take people there, you take groups. So your groups are around 35 people, is that right?
We took 35 last time. We're taking 33 here in a few weeks. So we literally just go through a couple days of training, everything that's very intensive and everything that's Amazon based and some very, very advanced things. And then we take and lead people through the fair. So when they go in, they're very, very prepared to be able to take advantage of all the things. Because when you go to the fair, you're going to see tremendous discounts that are versus what you might find on Alibaba. We had one person, Ben, who went last time, I think, and I can't even remember the numbers of what he told me, but I think through Alibaba, he was paying, it was either $315 or $351 for his product. And as I recall now, and again, these numbers may be wrong, but as I seem to recall him saying he got down to like 57 cents, 51 cents on his product like that. And just that savings alone more than paid for his trip and set him up several $1,000s going forward because they're just more willing to negotiate on price at this point. And the fact that they know that you've flown halfway around the world to be there, they know you're a very serious buyer and they're very, very willing to talk to you. So not only are you getting tremendous savings, but you're also getting to look at products that everybody else doesn't have access to. So you can certainly find things on Alibaba, but however here, not only will you see some unique things that most people don't have access to, but when you're sitting there talking with a manufacturer, they'll be able to customize them in many cases too, so you can stand out and be very, very unique. And it's also really nice when you're in the booth talking with them, you're kind of making a friend, and I think that makes a difference down the road. The other big thing about the fair and the people who I took liked is that you could sit there and you can actually pick up and touch the samples. You don't have to wait for them to have a couple weeks and a few $100s to have them mailed to you. But long-winded way to answer your question there, but I get excited when I think about the fair because I think it's really truly a way to become profitable within this business.
So, if you don't mind, I'd like to talk a little bit about the program that you have because I find this really interesting. So, I'm going to ask you a few questions about it. Before you go to China, if I just understood what you said, you have meetings beforehand. So, to
Well,
prepare people?
basically what we do, we have a webinar, and a big part of the advantage of going with a group of like what I'm doing and the people I'm taking is that going to China, assuming you're coming from, say, the United States, Europe, Australia, somewhere like that, going to China is not like just hopping on a plane and going to Europe. There's a lot of complexities in going to China. China's a very modern country. It's not like we all think and see in the movies. It's very modern. However, there's some logistics of being able to get entry visas. There are things of what to look for, some unique things in travel. And when people come into the group, we literally have a pre-planning session, a workshop, call it a webinar, where we tell people everything they need to do having to do with, gosh, getting their hotel room, dealing with money exchange, getting around, what to look for, what to avoid, all of the different things of being able to get your entry visa to make sure that you can get into China. Because again, the little piece of paperwork you may fill out on the plane when you land in Europe, that's all you need to do to go there. This is it's not complicated, but it's a time consuming process to where you have to do some things to get in. So we kind of help with all that going in. But the big thing too is that we kind of have a welcome reception. We get people to know each other. And then during this 2 days of training, we're going through everything that's going to help prepare you from basically A to Z. And by the time you leave, you're going to be at a very advanced level. But still, the other thing, and what is, I think, really beneficial is you're sitting in a room with 2 days, for 2 days, with some very, very advanced Amazon sellers, including myself. And it's like one-on-one coaching, it's group coaching, it's relationships and networking that you're going to have for quite a while. As I've stayed in contact with a lot of the people from the last time, they have kind of built friendships and co-ops and different things that have helped them many, many times, and they've leveraged their trip experience into a very viable and profitable venture going forward, I guess. So it's and then after the 2 days of training, we kind of help expedite you getting your badge, getting to the fair, and just showing you where it's going. Because this is, again, the easiest way for me to say it. It's not just like going to Europe. I mean, I've been very fortunate. I've traveled a lot of the world, and I just take this experience and kind of make. Really, you don't have to worry about the travel, so you can focus on finding products. And then with all the other knowledge and other things, to me, that's really the benefit of going.
Well, this sounds amazing. I've been to China, so actually twice, so I know exactly what you're talking about, the visa process and all that. Yeah, it's very different than anything. Like Australia, you buy your visa that nobody ever asked you for it. It's basically just a $25 expense. China, it's
Right.
very different experience. So I love the idea of the group because then you're not only just looking at stuff for yourself, but you also have in the back of your mind, oh, this one's looking for this. And so it's really having more people involved in your success. That's what I like about group activity.
Well, what I went through in the first day, we get everybody up and running and kind of pointing in the right direction. And not that anybody's sharing the products they're looking for, but I'll get involved with that. And if I know where a certain thing is or a vendor I've seen before, I'll try and help point them in the right direction. And it's one of those things that I probably have been to, gosh, I don't know, 50 trade shows in my life, because before the internet, you had to buy a lot of your products and different things for your businesses at trade shows. And this is no different. I feel like we're going back into the 90s doing this by doing a trade show versus doing something online. But if somebody needs help, maybe I'll tell them if they find a vendor on day one that they like their product, but they're a little bit apprehensive on some of the negotiation that went on for some of the pricing and terms, I'll talk to them. And if somebody would like me to, I went back with them, a couple people, and just tried to help them negotiate. So part of the trip, I think, is for lack of a better phrase, renting somebody else's experience and doing this, because I've been doing this in one form or another now for, gosh, 25 plus years. So yeah, the trip this is one of those intangible things that if you're prepared to take on what you learn and what you see, you can make as much money from it as you want. If you choose not to take advantage of all the things that are there, then it's probably not for you. But if you're serious about your business and you want to be around other people who can help you well beyond the fair, then I've tried to put this trip together to make it as beneficial as possible for everybody involved. It's a good trip.
It sounds amazing. It sounds amazing. So, give us a little bit of an insight into who exactly is like, give us a profile of the person that is most suited to be going to that fair.
We had people in our group who were just starting, all the way to people who have, I think we had one person who had well over 100 products last time. I think if you're brand new, there's some advantages there because you're able to leapfrog all the Alibaba stuff, all the traditional things and get going. There's no time frame on how you can get started. If you want to put a toe in the water, then you should go through Alibaba, get a product up and running, learn where you are, and then maybe go to the fair. But if you're just ready to get started and you want to leapfrog all of the slower pace type of people, you can certainly get a head start by going to a fair like this. If you're advanced, you're ready to, you know what you're looking for, you know it works, you've got a little bit more experience to where you can literally come in and find suppliers that are going to be able to save you 5, 10, 15, 20% on whatever you're doing and be able to make your money that way. And then if you've already got products and maybe you're looking for other brands, again, there's so much stuff there, it can be overwhelming. But if you're experienced and you walk through in what I call a day of discovery, then something will pop out to you that you would have never thought of in a million years. That when it comes out, or you walk by the booth and you see it, and you walk by, you scratch your head, I might be able to put a brand together with that. And then before you know it, you leave with 6 new products and a complete new brand. So I think there's something there for everybody. But again, if you're brand new and you're wanting to dabble, you probably ought to wait a bit. But if you're brand new and you're just ready to jump into the deep end of the pool, not put a toe in, you can certainly benefit and get started much faster.
Well, I love the idea of it, and I am going to seek you out pretty soon when I'm ready to go because you're really piquing my interest. And I've heard about it from Will Chernlin and some other people that I spoke to, um, uh, on the show and also just in person, and people are raving about it. And I really love the concept of preparation before you dive in because then it's very easy with all those buildings to get distracted. The other thing is if you're not really sure kind of who you are in your Amazon business, what your customers buying, and also kind of your vein that you want to move in, it would be very easy to get distracted. So I like the pre-planning of your event as well.
Well, there's also the sense of community here in addition to what you said, and that I found many of the people who would start walking the fair together and kind of help each other that way. The first time I went by myself, and it was a long, and I hate to say lonely trip, but it's a lonely trip. To have people there makes the experience that much more fun. And anytime you can put 30 people in a group, you're going to have some people having fun anyway. And it was not just work. It had a lot of fun as well. But yeah, going back to what you said about preparation, and that's kind of what we, for lack of a better word, force people to do in the 2 days of training we go over, that by the time they're ready to walk through that fair, they know exactly where to go, what they're looking for, what to expect, and it just streamlines the whole process and makes it easier for them to come out ahead and make a profit as opposed to just going in and being overwhelmed, which can happen if you go by yourself without much preparation.
Oh, I can imagine. So give us 3 tips that anyone who's considering, or anyone who's actually, maybe we should say anyone who's planning to go to the Canton Fair can use to really maximize the experience.
The first thing, and this is going to sound a little bit out of the box, I guess, but I'm somebody who hotels are not very important to me. To some people, people get all excited about staying in certain hotels. I can stay at a Motel 6 and I just don't care. As long as it's safe, as long as it's clean, I'm fine. However, if you're like that, this is a place to splurge on a nicer hotel. You can't underestimate the amount of physical effects that jet lag will have on you. Where I live on the East Coast, it's about a 25-hour travel time to get there. If you're in Europe, it's less, or the West Coast, United States, Australia, it's less, but it is an incredibly long trip. And to find a hotel that's within walking distance that if you need to come back in the middle of the day and lie down for a bit, jet lag will hit you. And when it does, it's a baseball bat to the head. and by being able to come back and treat yourself a little bit nicer food, nicer accommodations, physically you'll be able to endure the experience better and then be able to make better judgments and decisions in your business and get that money back. Another tip in here, I think, is one of the things that it can be hard to remember where you went, where all the people you spoke with. Take a selfie picture. Just hold the camera up and take a selfie picture with the salesperson at a particular booth and write down the booth number, because you won't remember everybody you talk to, and certainly they won't remember you because they've talked to thousands of people as well. And then when you send them something follow up after the fair, attach a picture, because when you attach a picture, they'll remember who you were and put in that we spoke about so and so in that. And the other thing is really just to come back with planning. I think there's a two-step process. I think you take care of whatever existing business you're in now, and you find vendors who are in that area. But I think you should also set a day aside for what I call a day of discovery, to where you've got all your business done. You're just walking through. You don't have an agenda. You're just kind of going where your feet take you, and you're looking at different things with the perspective of, could this make a good Amazon product? And inevitably, you will come across something, like I said earlier, you would have never thought of, maybe you haven't seen and since you were a little kid, that intrigues your interest. And then you can do some product research on it. And again, maybe that's your next $100,000 brand. So don't, and it's the old adage, I guess, about working on your business or in your business as opposed to just on it. So make sure that you plan some growth time, as I call it, discovery day. And I think that will lead to as much profit as you can possibly conceive.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, thanks so much for being here today. I have learned so much. You have me so revved up and ready to go to the fair. So thanks a lot for being here, Mark. It's been wonderful.
Well, thank you very, very much for having me, and hope to see everybody in China.
Isn't that awesome? I would really love to go to that fair. I think I'm going to go. So what about you? I hope that this has helped you in make a decision about how you can move your Amazon business forward. And if you're not in the Amazon business yet, maybe you'll consider diving in. Lauri Flaquer of Soltar Solutions, thanks so much, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Take care. Bye.